Hello and welcome to the 10th and final video for Intro to Python. This video is going to act as a bridge from this intro series to the data structure series. For this specific lesson, I'm going to be using PyCharm because as you continue on to using classes and objects, chances are you're going to be dealing with larger projects which contain several files, and idle is just not the best IDE for that type of organization. Plus, PyCharm has an autocomplete feature, so that makes things much more efficient. However, you don't necessarily have to have PyCharm downloaded yet, as you can still do it on idle. So I've created a new project here called Lesson 10, and we're going to right click on Lesson 10, hover over New, click on Python File, and then let's name this company. So to get started, let's define what a class is. So a class is basically a blueprint. You can have different properties within a class that can be altered for the specific object that's been created from that class. If that's unclear after building a few classes, things should get much clearer. So say you are running a company and you need a class or blueprint that can have unique properties for each employee. So we start off by typing class and then the class name. So let's call this employee and then a colon. And the first function that we need is called the def init function. And this basically initializes your object, the object that you're going to be creating, and what properties we're going to attach to the object. So let's create a few parameters. We can include name, age, salary. So we need to set self.name equal to name, and then self.age equal to age, and then self.salary equal to salary. So you might be wondering what self is. Self is basically a keyword that refers to the current object that's been dealt with. However, that might still be unclear, so I'll go in depth about it just in a moment. So now let's say we wanted to create a function that can change the employee's salary. So let's write def change salary, and then we'll have self as a parameter and then amount as a parameter. So now we can change the salary by just accessing self.salary and changing it to the amount that the user is going to pass through. Now I'm going to write another function. It's going to be called def repr. And whenever there is a double underscore, it means that these are overriding functions that overwrite the pre-written functions that are built in with Python. So the repr function specifically overwrites how the print function is going to be used. So in this case, I will be returning a string of just the employee's name. So that means if I print out an object that's been created from this employee class, it'll just give me out the name. So now after building the employee class, we can create new objects, or in this case, employees that can follow the properties written in the class. So let's create an employee named John. So we write the class name, and then in the parentheses, we pass through the parameters. So let's pass a string called John. Then within the age, let's say he's 24. Then salary, let's say he has 100K. Now the variable John stores an employee object with the provided properties. Now I can alter John with a few actions. So if I do John.change salary, I can change it to 120K. k, and then if I print out John.salary, then if I run that, I should get 120k. And a side note is that you don't actually need a function to change a salary. You can actually access his salary manually and change it like so. You can do John.salary equals 130k, and then if we print his salary now, let's run that, and it becomes 130k now. So now I'm gonna discuss more about what self really is. So when we just print out John, let's get rid of all of this. So if we just print out John for now, we just get his name because the repr function here is overriding the print function, so we just return the self.name. So it listens to our repr function and just prints out his name. Now we know that when we print outside of the class, we can just use print John like this. However, say you want to print John inside of the class. So say you wanted to have a function called def print name Sal. And of course self is going to be included, and this function is basically just going to print the name first and then the salary. So of course we know how to print the salary. That's just self salary. And now if we want to print out John using this repr function right here, we can't actually say print John, right? Because the class doesn't know the specific object's name. So instead of using print John, we can use print self. So when we write print self, it still goes back to our repr function, and that's really the primary purpose of self. It just means that it's the current object. So now I'm going to open up a new file. Let's call this main. And now what we can actually do, let me get rid of this. Let's treat the employee class as an unknown mysterious figure. So we would have to do from company, and this is how we import. So I am importing the employee class from the company file. So now I can create John in here while I don't have to look at the employee class. And this is how your client will see the code. So if I do 100k and then say I print John, and this time I'm gonna run main, and as you see, it still works. Now there's another way we can import, so let me show that way. If we do main2, we can just import the company file and then create John let's use a different name. Let's use Carl, and we'll have to do company, right, to reference this file, and then we need to access the employee class like that. So this is a bit more typing while creating each object. So I prefer it to use it this way. However, if you were to do it this way, do Carl, and then let's say he's 35, and we'll say he makes 120K. So now if we print Carl, and then we run main2, it prints out Carl. So this way or this way works. Now to put things into perspective, I'm going to sort of demonstrate how the turtle class works. So it's actually quite similar. So let's go to here because this is most recognizable. If we import turtle and then we do t equals turtle.turtle, you can notice that this is really similar to the format we have here, except that the turtle object just doesn't need any parameters, which is just the structure of its class. So we'd go here and then let's create turtle here. Well, the class name is going to be capital turtle, right? Because the class is capital turtle. Turtle is the file name. So instead of company, the turtle file would just be named turtle. So now you can have class turtle, and within the init, you can imagine there's probably a self.color, and that can be equal to something. And then you can have the def forward function with pixels, let's say, as a parameter. And they've written the code for all of that too. So you can actually use turtle this way as well. So in this format, it would be from turtle, we import turtle. Now we would just have to do t equals turtle, and we can actually give him commands. So let's actually get rid of this. This was just to demonstrate how it might be formatted. If we do it like this, it'll still work. Oh, put in parameters. Okay, so if we run main.py now, it should still give us 50. You can see that there's a window that pops up. However, it's disappearing for some reason. Maybe it's interfering with something else, but that is how classes and objects work in a minimalistic view. And that's it for this video. Tune in to the next series. It's called Data Structures. We go more in depth about classes and objects. So hope to see you in the next one. Please like, comment, and subscribe.